Hello, dear students. Today we will take up part 2, lesson number 6 of your English literature book, The Helpful Young Man. In our previous lecture, we have read that the young man, though he helped his father to restore his eyesight, still he was allowed to leave the house, and he had no house and he is roaming here and there aimlessly. And one day, as he was passing through a forest, he noticed a black buck came running to him, and the small animal stood by him and spoke in a trembling voice. He was afraid, and he requested the young man to save his life. And the young man allowed the buck to hide him in a ditch, and he covered the ditch with the grass and the leaves. And when the hunters came and asked the young man about the buck, he refused that he hadn't seen any buck recently. And in this way, the buck's life was also saved by the young man. Earlier he spared the life of the fish, now he saved the life of a black buck. And after some time moving further, he heard a cry. He stopped and looked in the direction from where the cry had come. He discovered that a jackal was being chased by hunters, and the jackal also requested to save his life, and he also promised to help him in his hour of need. The other two animals, the fish and the buck, also promised to help him in his time of need, and now the jackal also promised to help him in his time of need. And the young man kept on wandering for many days. He was tired and hungry and wanted to take some rest. And then he saw a strange palace, and he decided to go inside the palace and meet its owner. The palace was of a princess who was very beautiful, and she was famous for a magic mirror. She could see everything in it, and she had proclaimed that she would marry the man who could evade his reflection in the magic mirror, but he would be beheaded if traced in the mirror. So it was quite strange condition laid down by the princess. And the young man, as he was now out of his home, he had nowhere to go. He decided that he would go and will meet the princess and will try his luck. And as he went inside, and he saw human skulls, and he came to know that many young men who had failed in this adventurous task, but he was not afraid. He went to the princess and accepted the challenge. And the princess was cruel, and he smiled, and she said, "Okay, I am happy that now you are here and you also wanted to try your luck." And one day she said that, "Okay, hide yourself." And at night, the young man went to the seashore and called the fish for help. And the fish hid him in her stomach and went deep into the ocean. The princess traced the man who was hiding in the stomach of the fish, and she asked the young man that he must be beheaded now. And then the princess paused. She paused herself. "Well, you appear to be an interesting person to me. I'll give you another chance." This time the young man went to the woods and called for the buck. And the buck helped him by allowing him a- and by taking him to the remote hills. He sat on the horns of the buck and they went to the remote hills. Again he was traced. Now the princess spared once again the young man, and gave him last final chance to hide himself. This time he called the jackal to help him out, and the jackal was very wise and he called for his fellow jackals, and within no time they made a tunnel and they asked the young man to hide himself in the tunnel. It was planned that a tunnel should be dug and its another end should be right under the bed of the princess. And the plan executed immediately, and the young man was right under her bed. He hid himself under the bed of the princess, and as she rotated her mirror towards every direction, she was unable to find him, as he was hiding himself just under her bed where she used to sit. She couldn't find she couldn't find the young man in the mirror, and she got frustrated, and in a angry mood she smashed the mirror against the lamppost, and the mirror was broken, and she requested the young man to come out. I have lost the game. And as she said so, the young man came out from under the bed. She was shocked to see the young man who was hiding in her room only. The princess was surprised at his intelligence, and she accepted her defeat, and she agreed to marry him. Thereafter, the young man lived with his wife happily. Now, you have to read lesson 6 thoroughly and try to find out the difficult words. Goodbye. Take care.